Welcome to Customer Experience Magazine. My name's David Dungay. We're here reporting live from Contact Centre Expo in London. I'm with Chris Marron from CMA Intelligence. Welcome to the show, Chris. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm excellent, thank you. So, Chris, I want to start with some of the conversations you're having. You've spoken to a lot of vendors here in the room, and the conversations, as we spoke off camera, are sort of changing from last year to this year. Talk to me about that. How are they changing for you?
So, last year there was a lot of AI front and center, perhaps too much AI front and center. This year it is changing to how organizations are adapting to the shifts in technology, how customer service is increasingly a boardroom priority, and what that then means for the contact center and for contact center leaders.
Well, that's a good segue into our next one. CX has entered the boardroom. You know, we're seeing financial dashboards and CX sitting alongside financial dashboards as well. It's become a top priority for boardrooms across the world. Talk to me about, you know, what is the impact of that, and what does that mean for the kind of organisation beneath?
So it does create a lot of challenges. The contact center has always been something of a punching bag for the organisation. As a contact center leader, you are constantly taking that hit for whatever is wrong, whatever's broken in your organization. Customers will very, very explicitly tell you what's wrong and why and so on. Now what we're seeing is there is increasing pressure from internal stakeholders. So often executives will know enough about AI to be dangerous, but not necessarily know enough of the details to really implement. So there is a pressure coming in where the CX dashboard is exactly coming up as a C-suite priority, and they want leaders to say, here is the AI story, here is how we are delivering, here is how we're transforming and adjusting our processes. So that's putting a ton of pressure on those contact center leaders, but it's also giving those contact center leaders some quite unusual opportunities and areas to shine. So as a contact center leader, you've gone from, hey, I've got 3 or 4 anecdotes, I've heard on calls that this is a problem, which doesn't give you enough political capital and enough C-suite attention to drive real change, to this dial on our CX dashboard is going down, this is a C-suite issue, we need a solution. So they have the attention from the C-suite, but they also are increasingly having the tools to transcribe 100% of conversations, to analyze the topics of those conversations, and to really point to, hey, here are the actual genuine challenges that the business is facing. And because they can address those challenges in a data-driven, informed way with the attention of the C-suite, we're seeing that soft power that contact center leaders have really starting to increase and to allow them to start to drive change. So for some, it's still the pressure cooker, it's still too much pressure, too many demands, but for others it is empowering, and it's allowing them to drive real change in the organization and deliver a differentiated service that previously they couldn't do because it was too anecdotal.
So, Chris, talk to me about the vendors. I mean, you speak to them all in the room. How are they adapting to this change in landscape you're seeing?
So there's a couple of different angles that vendors are taking. One is to focus more on the end-to-end workflow than on the pure interaction management. So rather than how do we handle this phone call that's come in, it's increasingly becoming how do we handle the specific business process that is driving the demand? How do we tie into different systems? How do we build a more consistent journey for the customer? So that's one angle. The second angle is a greater focus on change management. So it's how do we actually enable the contact center leaders to have that conversation? How do we present a narrative to those internal stakeholders who are driving for AI differentiation to say, hey, here's what we can actually do, here is an external source who can validate that. And some of that is direct, some of that is through partners. So there is definitely a push to have partners who are better able to have that discussion, better able to talk to that change management and the internal buyers required to drive change management.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say partners are ideally placed to have that conversation. You know, they can be vendor agnostic. They can really have the customer's best interests at front and centre of their minds. And of course, a lot of them come with verticalised specialties as well, which is great. Chris, thank you so much for joining me. It's been a fascinating conversation. Enjoy the rest of the show.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
And thank you for watching. My name's David Dungay, and you have been watching Customer Experience Magazine.